Gowhar Farooq, an assistant professor in sociology, anthropology, and cultural studies at Jamia Millia Islamia University. Thanks so much for speaking to us. I need to start first with your response to the Supreme Court ruling not to delay the law's implementation. Do you think it was a responsible ruling? Is it legally sound?
Supreme Court has it can take decisions on its own, but a lot of people were expecting that it would at least stay the law at the act for some time, because it would at least calm down some nerves. But the fact that it has not intervened may agitate people further, because they see, in the light of the Ram Mandir, the ruling, and in the light of the recent protest, the protests might aggravate. This is what I foresee.
Okay. You are actually faculty at the university that has witnessed the height of the protests as well as the height of some of the clashes. I want you to tell us what it's been like, what you've felt, what you've seen, and have other universities shown solidarity with yours?
Let me tell you, these protests have spread all across India. A lot of universities at the length and the breadth of India have participated in these protests. These include universities from Delhi and elsewhere. So also, it's not just universities, a lot of civil society members, Bollywood stars, a lot of people have come together and supported students in this agitation, which all of them are asking government to scrap this law.
Right. And, asking also that Narendra Modi and the BJP somehow step away from the legislation or at least consider revising it, and that doesn't seem to be actually happening at all. So do you think India might be looking at even bigger clashes to come if the ruling party continues to dig in its heels?
Both Home Minister of India and Prime Minister of India have categorically maintained that they are not scrapping the law. So what I personally see is protests getting bigger and bigger if nothing is being done, especially if the Supreme Court has delayed the hearing. It means that the protests might even escalate, to my understanding. We have to also understand that there is a lockdown happening in at least 3 states of India, which is Assam, Meghalaya, and Tripura. In many parts of the India, internet has been also snapped. So it's an ongoing crisis, and one cannot predict how it will unfold. But in my opinion, it's going to magnify in the days to come.
Okay. What do you fear, though, as these protests magnify, as you predict, and if the laws go ahead, regardless of these protests, what do you fear the long-term effects will actually be on Indian society?
As we have seen time and again, the clashes are increasing. They were limited to some parts of Delhi first. Now, the other parts of the Delhi have also got engulfed in these clashes. So what I personally see is these clashes getting bigger and bigger. And if the government does not intervene, we never know what these clashes would lead into. Also, we have to understand that the law, which even the UN has said is discriminatory, is alienating a lot of people of India, which only does not include Muslims. It includes, for example, Tamilian refugees from other parts of the world, which is Nepal, Myanmar. So we have to also understand that it has a global significance, and how people will take it. The idea of India depends on how people are trying to intervene and push government to scrap this law. If this doesn't happen, I again am repeating that the protests might increase. We don't know how they will unfold, what will happen. That's not for me to say, but I personally see that these protests will get bigger and bigger, and we might see more confrontations between police, armed forces, and protesters.
Okay. The most critical reviews of these laws have said that this is really about an effort to change India's social fabric, to change its secular nature, and to marginalize certain minorities that the government doesn't actually like. Do you see it as cynical as that? Is it that profound? Is it ultimately about almost social engineering in India?
By singling out a community of all the communities in India, that says much about what the law is. We have to also understand that India has almost 200 million Muslims. It's a huge, huge number. If we look at just one state of Assam, 1.9 million people have been denied citizenship because they could not produce documents. We cannot even fathom the scale of what would unfold if the government goes ahead with this law.
Oh,
So it is, to my opinion, dividing the country almost, on in terms of religion, in terms of regionality, in terms of ethnicity. So it's not just Muslims who will suffer. There are a lot of Adivasis, there are a lot of Dalits, poor people who do not have documents. We have to understand that India is a country where a lot of people are not educated or are educated and do not have documents. So it will unfold a chaos, in my opinion.
okay. Gowhar Farooq, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us from New Delhi. We appreciate it.